What's better than $2 Tuesday at Sports Memo? How about Freebie Friday? We can't go any lower than free, and each and every Friday we'll hand select a best bet from one of the hottest handicappers on the site and give it out for free. All you have to do is each and every Friday, head over to sportsmemo.com. The Freebie Friday will be listed on the homepage, and you'll be just a click away from a free bet.
What is up, guys? It is Thursday. This is Puck Time right here on WagerTalk TV. I am Andrew McInnis. Happy to have Brian Leonard joining us here on his usual Thursday spot. Of course, Carmine and Bianco alongside with me as well, my co-host. Guys, we have two games on tap for today. The Boston Bruins, the New York Islanders, and of course, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Carolina Hurricanes. But before we get into that, I just have to ask you, was it the Leafs playing poorly or was it the Habs playing well? Was it the Jets playing poorly or the Habs playing really well? We'll find out tomorrow, or we'll discuss that again. But I just want to check in with everybody to see if it's still other teams playing poorly or if we can finally start giving this Canadiens team some credit. But two great games tonight in the East, and we're going to jump into them. So, Carmel, I'll go to you. How was your night last night, and what's going on for you tonight?
Yeah, I think it's Jets in 5, Andrew. No, I'm kidding. I'll be honest with you. And I was talking to Brian and the guys just before we went to air, before you came on. I didn't. I actually missed the first 45 minutes of the game yesterday. I tuned in into the third period. I was out getting some medical stuff, and then got back home, watched the last 10 minutes of the game, and I'm trying to find out who the better team was during the first 40 minutes, and no one seemed to have an answer for me, but I'm going to assume it was Montreal. An ugly hit at the end there, and obviously you never want to see a guy stretchered off the ice, in any game or in any sport. So that was pretty ugly, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see a suspension because of that on Scheifele, but we'll leave that up to the NHL and the weird way in which they do things. The second game was pretty entertaining. I'm telling you, you watch this Colorado Avalanche team, Andrew, and for those guys out there who love college basketball and remember the Arkansas Razorbacks, the 40 minutes of hell that team used to do on pressing teams and just playing 40 minutes of offense and defense. That team played great. The game goes to overtime. I heard, because I actually went to sleep at the end of the third period. I heard it was a soft penalty in OT, and which led to that power play goal. So I'm sure I'll see the highlights of that one. But a couple of good games, and the Avalanche up 2-0 in the series, and we know what the odds are. And when a team goes up 2-0 in a series, 334 and 50 now, 87% to close out a series when you're up 2-0 in a series. Excited to have our guest today, Brian Leonard. Let's bring him in. Brian, how you doing?
I think Brian's having some problems, Carm, so we're going to try and get those worked on and those figured out. But it was a crazy game last night. It was back and forth. It was fast-paced. I actually did have a loser on the show. I want to be transparent. I had the over. Lots of chances for both teams. No doubt about that, Carm. Lots of posts were hit, but a great goaltending display from both Marc-Andre Fleury and Philip Grubauer. And Carm, you mentioned it was kind of a soft call. I'll tell you, I was disappointed. I tweeted out last night during the game I was watching, I really hope this game isn't decided by a power play goal. That's what I tweeted out. I said this game is so good, let's not have it be decided by a power play goal. Of course it was, but an unbelievable pass from McKinnon to Rantanen cross ice, and they're able to get the job done. But either way, great game. And, they say the series is never really over, Carm, until you lose at home. Right, that's kind of the old-fashioned saying. So Vegas goes down 2-0, but they get to go back home now.
Yeah, and I get it. And I had the over in that game as well too. And halfway through the second period, you're figuring it's going to be a win. The minute someone goes up 3-2, at the very least, you're going to have some empty net action in the third period. But that just didn't happen, and that's probably why I went to sleep. I was just tired, and we've got a long day ahead of us, or at least I do as well too. So I tapped out for that OT because I wasn't sure if it was going to be a single OT or a double OT, and just didn't want to hang in at that point. And when I looked at the final analytical numbers, the final score wasn't far off. It was 2.82 to 2.6 in Colorado's favor. So that's that's 5.5 goals based on the final numbers, analytical wise. So it was pretty much where it was supposed to be. Looks like, do we have Brian? We have Brian back? We're having audio problems with Brian. We will continue to work on it, of course. But two big games tonight. Obviously, the Islanders and Bruins, with that series tied at 1, and Tampa Bay back in Florida, up 2-0 after a couple of wins in Carolina. Andrew?
Yes, sure. We'll start with the Tampa Bay Lightning, Carolina. I mean, when you look at that game, it's kind of ridiculous to look at the effort that we've seen from the Carolina Hurricanes offensively. This is, of course, is our barn burner segment here. Total sits at 5.5. And, when you look at this game, I think it's very easy, Carm, to kind of throw some shade in the direction of the players like Sebastian Aho and Trocheck and Teravainen and Jordan Staal. It's very easy as guys breaking down games, as bettors, as media, to look at those guys and say, where have you been? What are you doing? Where's your offense from last series? And why is it not transitioning into this series? But when you ultimately look at it, I think it's also good to give some credit to the defensemen of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Zone exits has been something I've talked about quite a bit throughout this playoffs. And when you have a team as talented up front as the Tampa Bay Lightning do, and you have puck-moving defensemen like they do, it's really simple. Make that connection short pass. If you notice, the centermen for the Tampa Bay Lightning are staying very close to the defensemen. They're getting that puck out of their end, and moving up the ice really quickly. And it's really disrupting any type of flow and momentum that Carolina can gather in the offensive zone. Carm, I actually was on the team total over for Carolina in that last game, strictly because I kind of said to myself, look, I felt like Carolina got their chances in the opening game. I felt like the expected goals were there. The dangerous scoring opportunities were there. They were crashing the net. And I liked that style of play because I felt like they could still lose the game, Carm, but still cash a ticket for me. And that price was pretty great. This is, of course, is the barn burner segment, but we're going to talk both side and total. But I think you and I always talk about the do factor. Don't bet the do factor. Don't bet what we're waiting to happen, right? Vasilevsky's playing out of his mind. And Nedlovich is also playing out of his mind as well. He's playing great. None of these losses are on him, at least in my opinion, Carm. It's hard for me to go anywhere but the under, Carm.
Yeah, I get it. I was talking to Brian before the show, and when we talked strictly on, analytic numbers, the second game was skewed in Carolina. The final, XG numbers were 3.05 for Carolina, 1.37 for Tampa Bay. The game is not played on paper. The game is played on the ice, and Tampa Bay is doing exactly what they need to do to win games. They didn't have a lot of shots on goal in that game too, Andrew, as you know, and yet they won the game 2-1. What did they do? They scored when given the opportunity, whether it was a miscue or not, a defensive error. One of them, the D-man at center ice at his blue line, kind of gets his feet crossed, puck goes off of it, and the guy's in, and I think he tried to check him on the wrong side. He scores a goal. These are all excuses. At the end of the day, Tampa's doing exactly what they need to do. Championship teams win games by taking advantage of the opportunities presented to them when they only have a few, and that's what Tampa has done in winning both games. This is one of those series where I joked around that if I could be throwing dirt on a coffin that has my bankroll in it by taking Carolina again, especially against a Tampa team very good at home with Vasilevsky in net. But you have to believe that the third game is one of the toughest ones to win, but Tampa could do it. But if Carolina is going to win a game, it's not going to be game 4 if they lose game 3. If they lose game 3, they're done. If they're going to win a game, this is going to be the game that they win. I'm not saying that they will, but I look for a good effort from them right from the onset. They're not starting late in this game. as far as that goes. Both goalies have been good. It's just such a good series that at the end of the day, we could be talking, on Monday that, this series was over in 4 with all 3 games being won 2-1. I don't see how off those first 2 performances, Andrew, we could look to the over here. We could see goals. I'm not saying we're not going to, but it's a very far stretch. I think at this point to say we're due for goals. That due factor
Right.
is not a gambling angle.
No.
Much like the zigzag factor isn't a gambling angle as well too. It's just something you talk to your friends about when you're at the bar having a couple drinks.
Absolutely. And I think that you look at this series and you think to yourself, what happens though if Carolina goes down, Carm, right? Or what happens? I mentioned yesterday that I was planning on taking the first period over in the Canadiens game and then trying to find some type of in-game under. With this game in particular, I could actually see it starting slow, and then if desperation starts to call, maybe it picks up a little bit, Carm. Maybe you guys should watch out for our Puck Time Twitter account. Make sure to follow it at PuckTimeWT. Maybe we're tweeting out a third period over. Maybe we're expecting all hands on deck if the Carolina Hurricanes are down 3-1. Maybe we're expecting to see absolutely everything thrown at the net, kitchen sink type of third period. Maybe we're seeing some empty net goals. I don't think that happens, Carm. And when the back against the wall type of game like this, I wanted to throw something at you, and I haven't given out many of these, and it's very frustrating because I've talked about a few. Overtime. My book shows plus 315. I think this game has overtime written all over it. I think if you look at this game and you take a look, Prez gave out Vegas yesterday plus 1.5 at like minus 150. You can also get Carolina plus 1.5 at minus 180. And I want to make it very clear. I have never, ever said it's a good idea to take a plus 1.5 besides, instead of taking the money line, because in the long term, I always thought, you're going to make more money taking that dog. But in a scenario like this, when so many games have been so tight, so many games have been decided by just one goal, especially with the Carolina Hurricanes, it, to me, wouldn't be a bad bet. Even if you took the +1, half bet on the plus 1.5, half bet on that money line, I think it would be a good bet, Carm. I think this game will not be a blowout for either team. And I'm definitely going to have just a little sprinkle on the overtime prop here.
Yeah, I don't blame you, Andrew. All 4 games in Tampa Bay between these two this season have gone under the total. A 4-1 Carolina win back in April, which was the last game that they played. These two played in Florida, but before that, Tampa had won, 3-0, 3-1, and 3-2 in OT. So we haven't seen a lot of goals, but this is a series where those plus 1.5s are probably working, and they are working. If you look at the first couple of games, and no doubt, if you take, if I follow along my narrative of the game of, let's say, Carolina, this has to be Carolina's best performance of the series, or they are done. Then taking the 1.5 here might not be a bad way to go, because this game could go to overtime. Could very likely go to overtime. The margins are extremely slim between these teams. I'm telling you, anyone who's watched 60 minutes of each game in this series so far can't say that one team has been that much better than the other. It has been a game of very few chances and very few mistakes. But Nedeljkovic made that mistake in game 1 where he couldn't cover the far post. I'm not sure what happened there. Tampa made him pay. A couple of mistakes in game 2, Tampa made him pay. That's what championship teams do. And if Carolina wants to be considered a team that can be a championship contender, a Stanley Cup contender, they've got to win tonight or they're done.
The more we talk about this, Karen, the more I kind of just get that feel this game's going to start off slow and then something's going to just kind of click. One goal goes in, floodgates will open up. Time will tell, though. Should be a great game. I am passing on the side in this game, and leaning towards, like I said, a slow start and then things picking up just a little bit. I will have some props for my clients and also a best bet prop in this game at the end of this show. I want to remind all of you guys to check out Carmine's publication on his profile, wt.buzz/CB, for the Euros. I have it marked down today on my to-do list to read and check out. Also, check out the video that Carm did with Kelly. I started watching it last night. Gonna finish that. It was too late, Carm. I was so tired. I didn't want to continue to watch it because I was so sleepy. I knew I wouldn't focus and actually take it all in. So I want to save that for when I was fresh and ready to have my ears open. So make sure you guys all check it out because I'm excited. And maybe you can just quickly tell us about that video, Carm.
Yeah, listen, I had to, it's very tough to get Kelly. She has a lot of media commitments to her. And for those who don't know, she has signed with ESPN and will be doing a show called Daily Wager with them. So her time is very limited. And, she put some time aside so we could do this video on the Euro preview show. I promised to come up with some underdogs for her. Unlike the World Cup in 2018, where I sort of predicted France and Croatia 7-1 and 41 and 40-1 to make the final. This is a little tougher. There's a lot of separation between the teams in this tournament. It was a lot of fun. We covered it not only in that video, but there's a publication on my page that you can download on the right side. It's 21 pages long, and it's a preview of the Euros. A lot of good information there, along with my predictions for each group that you can get, and news on how you can win from my collection of autographed jerseys. I have 2 framed Cristiano Ronaldo jerseys, one from the 2005-2006 the season where he played for Manchester United, and one from the 2019-2020 season where he played for Juventus. So those are up for grabs for my clients, and there's details in that publication. You can download it for free at WagerTalk.com.
Good stuff, Carmen. It's going to be an awesome tournament. I'll definitely have some action on it as well. Looking forward to it. Let's jump into our marquee matchup here. The Boston Bruins, the New York Islanders. Bruins -140. Total sits at 5. We have seen some goals here in this series. And I think we'll expect to see that again. Islanders +120. Looking forward to getting your opinion on this game, Carmine. I want to blast through a few stats here. It was shots galore, man. If your book, guys, offers total shots combined, I was on that yesterday in the Canadiens and Jets game, over 59.5 shots combined. A lot of times it'll be either shots combined or it'll be saves for a goalie, how many saves they will get. I would take a look at it again here in this series. It's really funny to me, Carm, if you break it down. 2 teams with great goaltenders, right? We're getting a total of 5. But we saw 42 shots from one team and 39 from the other. And the bookmakers are like, hey, we'll give you a 5 again, right? And I know you've been cashing tickets on the over in this series. And it just kind of made me chuckle a little bit looking at all these advanced stats, looking at the power play percentages. Islanders go 2 for 3. Boston goes 1 for 2. Look at the hits. Look at the block shots. Block shots weren't even that high. For a playoff game, in my opinion. And we're still seeing a low-hanging number like 5. I think the bookmakers, they know the type of hockey that the Islanders want to play. They know that the Bruins can play a low-scoring style. But to me, the pace that this game has shown, the pace this matchup has shown us, and I've always said, and I've been saying this, Carm, so I'm not going to make a huge deal out of the shots on goal because like I said, all shots on goal aren't always dangerous shots, but this has to tell us something. The end-to-end chances. These teams, they're not having much time in the offensive zone. It's all counterattack. It's like football, European football. It's all off the rush, all counterattack. And I think that benefits the Boston Bruins. You look at this series, I think the Islanders would love to dump the puck in, cycle things around, use their little bit of size, and make some plays around the net. Boston Bruins, though, the top 2 lines they have with Smith, Krejci, Taylor Hall, then you have Pasta and Bergeron and Marchand. they've been outstanding. You always say you want your stars to be your stars. Very cliche, Carm, but it's true for this Boston Bruins team. They never fail to show up. At least one of those players finds the score sheet or gets it done in some type of way, shape, or form. I look at this price here, minus 140. I think it's pretty generous for the Boston Bruins. However, I do think that looking at the team total will probably be a good idea as well. You can get a little bit cheaper of a price, and I do think if they do win this game, they do hit that team total. But the Islanders, they've hung around. They obviously proven that they could go the full distance. They win that one in overtime. What are your thoughts on this game, Carm? Are you going back to the well with the over?
I think I am. I'll tell you what. The Islanders came into the series. First things first. As far as like sort of the transparency goes, because the play is already out there. I did take the Bruins to win the series, but I took them on the handicap line. Bruins minus 1.5 games, which means they have to win it in 6 or less. And my theory behind it is the Bruins, I believe, are a better team. I believe the Bruins are playing better hockey at this time. And I didn't think that the Islanders would be able to enforce their will of how to play games, lower scoring games on the Bruins. Very few teams did that during the last couple of weeks of the season, and Washington couldn't even do that. And through both games, the Islanders haven't been able to do it. The only difference is the Islanders were able to get a couple power play goals in the second period of that game to sort of take control. And even though the Bruins tied it up in the third, the game's decided in overtime. A game goes to overtime. You just, Andrew, I still say it is a coin flip. Once you get to overtime, it just really is.
No
With
3 on
that
3
said,
though.
I just
Not as much in the playoffs. No 3 on 3.
yeah, no, not as much. It's not a skills competition anymore, but it's just a bounce that goes your way. You can't come back from a mistake in overtime. You can come back from a mistake during 60 minutes of play, unless that goal is scored in the last minute of the game. That is the difference here. With that said, I just don't see how the Islanders, in all honesty, they're a very good team. I love Barry Trotz. I just don't see how they beat the Bruins in this series. Doesn't mean it can't happen. No, of course not. Of course they can do it. But even the odds makers at this point, a split of the first 2 games in Boston. We're going back to New York, where New York has home ice, and the Bruins are still minus 200 to win the series. I get the odds makers get it wrong, but I don't think they have it wrong here. Give me the Bruins tonight, and I'm going to go with the same thing with the Bruins team total. If you figure it's going to go over, at worst, you take the Bruins and you take the over in this game. If the Bruins get you 3 goals, you're not losing both bets. So obviously, if the Bruins don't get 3 goals tonight, they could lose both bets as well too. But Bruins for me, and I said if the total is at 5, I'm going to keep taking the overs, and I'm going to stick to it until I see something different from this Islanders team. But 5-2, 4-3 in OT. Give me the Bruins.
And I was giving out a lot of stats throughout the year, Carm, about these 5s and the total stats for 5.5, for 6, 6.5, and for 5s. And I'm not trying to get too fancy, Carm, on you a little bit, but I know you do this a little bit with soccer. I truthfully think if you're betting the over 5 in this one, a small hedge might literally be betting an exact score on 3-2. You know how many times this year, I don't actually have the numbers, so it's kind of a rhetorical question, but how many times this year on the season we saw a total with a 5 push at exactly 3-2 with that score line? It seemed like a lot. I don't have the exact numbers for you, but it seemed like a lot. So it's either pushing or going over quite a bit of times. And I've actually looked at betting that 3-2 exact score prop a couple different times. I want to jump in real quick again on this game, but I want to let you guys know I do have a 5% power play up tonight in the NHL. It's been several weeks since my last 5% play. This is my first 5% play in the NHL of the playoffs. So looking forward to tonight, guys. You can use that coupon code AM15 to save $15 off my play. It's up at the front page of WagerTalk.com right now. You can find that full analysis inside the play. Really looking forward to this play, guys, and back in action with the 5%. I am 20-8. My last 28 5% plays, 71% for a 52% bankroll increase. That dates back to 2019. So it's a long-term run. The 5% plays have been strong, and I'm very selective with these plays. AM15 to save $15 off. And looking forward to that Bruins Islanders game. 2 great games on tap. I do have some props, though, to jump in with you guys right now. Prop time with myself, Andrew McInnis. Let's jump into it, guys. Let's blast through. I don't have too many for you. It's actually just 2 that I'm going for, and then I'll have one more as my best bet. But the first one we're going to go with, I got one in each game. First one we're going to go with, Brad Marchand, over 2.5 shots, minus 130. The price is too good to be true, and here's the reason. Brad Marchand, everybody thinks he's just some shooter, but he has actually transformed into an unbelievable passer, especially these playoffs, Carm. Pasternak, Bergeron, their numbers on shots, way too expensive, way too pricey. Pasternak, he might get his shot prop. Bergeron, he might get that, but I don't feel comfortable laying the price with him when I can get Marchand at 2.5 at minus 130. Let's go to our other one here. For the Carolina Hurricanes now this time, I have Andrei Svechnikov over 2.5 shots. This guy continues to cash. He's at minus 130. When I talked yesterday on the show about looking at the secondary guys, talked about it on Prop It Up as well on Tuesday. This is what I'm talking about. Svechnikov was bumped all the way down to the 3rd line, led the team in shots. He had 8 a couple days ago. He had 6 a week ago. This guy is reining in the shots, and he has that green light from the coaching staff. Brad Marchand over 2.5 shots. Svechnikov over 2.5 shots. Let's make it a clean 2-0 sweep. One prop from each game. And Carm, I'll send it over to you for promos and your best bet.
Yeah, I'm going to throw a couple pieces of information to you, Andrew, that I got while you were going through your props. Thanks to our good friend Johnny Detroit. When a total is 5 this season, the over/under is 19, 3, and 5. So 19 wins, 3 losses, 9 pushes. It looks like with the total at 5. So that's pretty good. 28 of the 31 times you've either won or pushed on that. To your point of a 3-2 scoreline in this game, the exact score, Andrew, in this game, if you're taking the Bruins to win 3-2, it's plus 650 on your money. So 6.5 to 1, plus 800 on the New York Islanders to win exactly 3-2. So if you think it's going to end 3-2, and you took both of those, and that game is 2-2 heading to overtime, you're going to cash at least when you factor in the losing wager, plus 550 on your money, which isn't a bad way to go. NHL 2 plays up for my clients. Nothing in soccer today. I'm gearing up for the Euros, and I have a Euro package up that you can get at WagerTalk. That's all tournament plays, all prop bets, all future bets. There's just a ton of information and stuff in there for this tournament. And all 51 games are going to be on ESPN for you guys down in the US that you can watch those games. They'll all be on in the afternoon, so plenty of action there. You can get that over on my page at wagertalk.com. Best bet for this show, Andrew, is going to be the total in the Boston game. It's at 5 right now. This is likely going to be added to my client card as well too. Over 5 in this game. This is all about the Bruins. I just don't think that the Islanders can enforce their will on the Bruins and get them to play the Islander way. And Islander overs at home was a profitable angle as well too. If you remember during the regular season, it hit at a winning clip. During the regular season, it was Islander road unders and home overs. If you played those just absolutely blindly, you made money this year. So let's go with the over 5 in tonight's game.
All right, over 5 for Carm. Let's get that winner. Carm, what about the Canadian viewers? Where are the different places? I know it's going to be, I think, probably 1 or 2 different places that we can watch the Euros. What are the places we can be watching those games?
It'll be, for our Canadian viewers, obviously Sportsnet and and TSN, which are, TSN is like the Canadian version of ESPN. It'll be up here. It'll be on TV. They'll be showing all 51 games as well up here. Everything from the 30, I think it's 36 group stage games, and then 15 games during the knockout stages, which takes us right to the finals on July the 11th. So a ton of action. The great thing about these games is, they're going to be on at noon and 3 o'clock, or I think 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So some great, if you're locked down wherever you are, there's some great games to be watching. So, pick up that Euro package and join me in watching these games. There's going to be a ton of action.
Gonna be lots of fun. Guys, I mentioned I don't want to lay too much juice and bet it too high of a price, but I'm actually going to do that with my best bet, and I've done it a few times. The times I have done it, been pretty successful. I'm going over 2.5 shots for Sebastian Aho at minus 160. I know Carm likes this player. I like this player, and I think that the Carolina Hurricanes, as much as I think they're a deep team, they're going to live and die with this guy. If he does not perform tonight, they don't have a chance. They're not successful. It's going to be one of those quote for quote green light games, kitchen sink games for the Carolina Hurricanes. You saw what happened to the Toronto Maple Leafs when they were getting like over 35 shots a game and Carey Price was shutting them down. Vasilevsky is kind of reminding me of the exact same thing right now, except for the Tampa Bay forwards are just controlling the puck a lot more than what we saw in the Montreal series. So I'm not really going to look towards Carolina, guys. I think if you like Carolina tonight, guys, bet some of these shot props. Safer bet. You'll make some good money, and you don't have to worry about the pucks going in. Just worried about those shot props. Just a reminder, of course, my 5% pick. You can save $15 with the coupon code AM15. Guys, power plays on the screen. Carmine going with Bruins Islanders over 5, minus 130. And maybe a little sprinkle on that exact score prop at a great number, like Carm said, with the 3-2 exact. And I have Sebastian Aho over 2.5 shots. Carm, I wish we could have got Bryan on today. It's always a shame. Technology is great when it works. When it doesn't, we don't really like it as much. But any closing remarks before we close things out? Oh, you're muted, Carm.
Sorry, I muted myself there. Apologies. I sent a message to Bryan apologizing for the technical issues, and hopefully we can, if he's available tomorrow, we'll get him on. If not, if he's not available, we're going to have our good friend Andy Lang, the other prop master. You two guys absolutely kill it with these NHL props all the time. So hopefully we can get him on. Guys, enjoy the games tonight. Two very good games. I'm thankful that there is no late game tonight. I'll be watching both games on different screens, enjoying them. Follow the Puck Time account on Twitter. Any in-game bets that I have, I am going to post on the Puck Time Twitter account.
Best of luck, guys. WagerTalk today coming up at 12 o'clock Eastern. Teddy Covers continues his massive MLB run as he looks to take over as the longest streak and on the hunt to beat Marco's record. Thanks a lot to you guys for being a loyal viewership here on Puck Time all season long. And we'll see you tomorrow right here, same time, 11 a.m. Eastern on Puck Time.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk text club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.